Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Chakras and Cuss Words podcast. My name is Katherine, and I am your host. So, if you're new here, hello, I welcome you. Today, we are getting into the 2025 astrology forecast. The energy literally screams cosmic potential of creating something beautifully aligned with your real sassy self if you're a sister of sass. And I feel like if you're a cosmic baddie, you're definitely a little sassy. So this energy, this astrology forecast is definitely under the spell of the stars for this month. And we're going to get into some movement. And I do want to tell some of my favorite cosmic baddies that the format of the podcast in some areas is kind of like changing up just a little bit. So I might not have so many video podcasting options. Of course, if I'm doing like a birth chart or maybe diving into some full moon energy, and I really want you guys to see the aspects or the transits that are occurring in that time, I will definitely have the video option, but I'm trying to kind of keep it a little bit back, into the area of just audio because of a few reasons. Editing kicks my ass. It literally takes a while. And I feel like if I'm going to stay consistent with podcasting, I need to kind of loosen my format, make it a little bit more fun and a little bit more easier for me, for Mama Bear, right? So we're dipping into the energy of November, and November is literally almost here. Like October went by so quick. I'm kind of sad that October is already ending. The spooky season is gone. So we are ending in Scorpio season, and we will then be transitioning over to Sagittarius season. So I'm recording October 27th at 8. No, not at 8. I was going to say 1800 for those who can tell military time, or 12-hour time. So it's actually 1826, also known as 6 p.m. There's just a little bit of math in this podcast. Ha 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 ha. But anyways, so November is basically here, and this month is literally dripping with magic. Like it's very wet with the magic. And oh yes, it is seductive. It's tantalizing. It has a good combination of fixed energy and a little bit of mutable energy. The zodiacs that are definitely going to be fighting for main character in the month of November are Scorpio, of course, and Sagittarius, of course. I feel like Capricorn has some movements as well. That constellation is definitely making some energy. And then Taurus, we have some energy with Taurus as well. So all of these constellations are kind of playing a part to this celestial story that screams passion, rebirth, awakening, and movement. So if you're ready to get into this podcast, so am I. So grab your favorite tarot deck if you like to pull cards as you're listening to the astrology, because I kind of do. Sometimes I like to just always look at my tarot deck, and I've been definitely pulling more tarot on the YouTube channel. I will say with some of my readings, especially the full moons, we might not have that many tarot readings on the podcast. They might just be on the YouTube channel. So if you're not following me on the YouTube channel, please do, because like I said, the format of this podcast is changing a bit. I have two majority of listeners. Some are over on YouTube and they like what they like, and then some on the podcast like what they like. So I'm kind of trying to break it up and see what happens. So relax, babe, relax. I got this astrology down packed for you. Okay. So we're going to go over some of the key moments that I think are really playing in the energy of magic, secrets, and even a little bit of spell casting for the month of November. So November 2nd, we're starting off strong with some doable energy, but it does feel a little bit of like a burden, especially around relationships. We have Venus in Libra, squares Jupiter in Cancer, where I definitely see like that Libra energy. We might have, maybe we're not feeling as divine with our divine feminine. Maybe we're not feeling as delicious as we should, or we're feeling a little bit almost like there's an obstacle. The stars definitely want us to like get that energy of flirtatiousness back into our life. So if we've been kind of like scaling away from that, and we've kind of been like more worried about like, oh gosh, I'm not feeling it, versus that flirtatious nature that so many of us have, we might really be feeling it on this day, unfortunately. Libra definitely brings the beauty, while Cancer kind of like shells the comfort. Like Cancer's like that shell of safety. And we might be asking ourselves like permission to really enjoy who we are, and it might be a little challenging of a time for us right there. So definitely have an open mind. You might want to do some journaling. You might want to do some movement that really makes you feel a little bit more centered in who it is that you are. Now, the first week of November is very strong. We also have Mars in Scorpio, trines Neptune and Pisces. So Scorpio's passion meets Pisces, like dreamy water instinct. And then with Neptune, it feels almost a little bit familiar, but not as familiar as before. So we are going to feel like a little bit of karmic energy, especially when it comes to the area of the consciousness. And some of us might be feeling very magnetic. So I could definitely see like an old flame, an old dream, an old area of intuition, an old secret kind of coming back up. And it also gives us this chance to acknowledge like we are the walking love spell. We are the spell. So if they're not loving us all the way, do they even need to love us at all? Absolutely fucking not. So a little mystery and a little magic about this is this energy is actually very potent. It's like poisonously potent for manifesting and seduction. So if you're getting a little bit centered on like maybe making some irrational decisions, or speaking in the area of where you are moving in your unconscious state and just moving subtly seductive and a little bit more delicious than usual, you will definitely see that this energy of desire will really foreplay in certain aspects of relationships and also casual hookups. So just be mindful of that, but don't be too dreamy-eyed. Right? We don't want to be too dreamy-eyed. We also have on November 4th, which is definitely a high energy day. And we have Mars enter Sagittarius to just take us by hold and create some area where it feels different. It feels a little bit way more adventurous, feels a little bit more impulsiveness and a little bit reckless. And that energy, as Mars enters Sagittarius, then becomes opposite of Uranus in Gemini. So I could definitely see where the conflict occurs. The energy of fire and freedom aiming under the restless sky, the energy of being more rebellious, and even being more rebellious with the movement of media, communication, and also exploring. So it feels like we want to choose to explore and to have this higher level of consciousness and this higher level of awakenedness, but we don't want to be explosive. Like we don't want to be too erratic. While we can be a little bit, a little bit brave and courageous, we don't want to be erratic. Another thing that some of you guys may have been noticing is I did not do the reflection for October. And I will tell you that the reason why is because I am trying to minimize the length of these podcasts. And like I said, I'm changing the format to the podcast. So there's not going to be any reflections. It's too hard for me to keep up. And I'll try. And then I just won't try anymore. So I just decided to just eliminate that factor. So November 5th is a high energy day. We have the full moon in Taurus under the constellation of that bull, that fixed energy of the Taurus. And we will definitely celebrate, I believe, the beaver moon and everything we've grown and built and nourished under the years. This moon really comes focused. This moon is also very good for manifesting and creating money rituals. So I pulled up the chart because I was being nosy and I was getting ready to prepare for recording for this podcast. And what I noticed is that this moon is in 13 degrees of Taurus and 23 minutes of Taurus this moon hits. And there's definitely some, little concerning factors, I would say. We definitely have that energy of Mars with Sagittarius. And we also have a bit of a square with that energy of Mercury and transitioning over from Sagittarius, and we're also getting ready to get hit with our first Mercury retrograde. So Mercury is actually getting ready to have a retrograde right around this time. It's still kind of making its moves and its awareness, and then it's going to be hit with a retrograde. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that energy. And we're also going to talk about the energy of movement that continues before I really dive into the chart reading, okay, of the full moon in Taurus. So there's definitely some energy, occurring. We're going to have a Mercury retrograde in November, and it is going to start in Sagittarius, and it is actually going to transition over to Scorpio. It's going to end in Scorpio, I believe. So we'll get back into that energy. Right? We also have November 6th, Venus enters Scorpio, and everything loves to dive deep, and it's dreamy, it's soulful, it's transformative. It lets your guard down, the energy of intimacy and new power. November 7th, Uranus retrograde in Taurus. Expect shakeups, routines, finance, areas of relationship. I also think there's going to be some energy around aviation. For those who listen to that podcast, we talked about some of the aviation troubles that were occurring and how Uranus in Taurus seems to be the culprit from what I've accumulated over time. But, everybody has their own focus and their own energy of recognition of patterns. But I definitely noticed that Uranus in Taurus doesn't scream a lot of energy around aviation being at its all-time high. It actually seems a little bit challenging during this time. And we also remember that chaos is something that's like rearranging in our path. And also with the Uranus retrograde in Taurus, I definitely think that we're going to see something with finances. We still have the government shutdown. We still have a lot of obstacles. People are saying that everything's super challenging, just super, super, super challenging right now. Also on November 9th, we have Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. So the travel plans, we're going to double check, right? Luckily, during the time of the full moon, Mercury retrograde hasn't actually started. Mercury is in Sagittarius, but the retrograde hasn't started. So the Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius definitely feels like there's going to be some conversations that are going to probably go to shit. I definitely feel like travel plans are going to be fucked up. I don't know, but something just tells me Mercury retrograde Sagittarius. We have to remember that Sagittarius has a lot of area about like travel. Also that energy of that constellation, philosophy. So maybe something might happen to the educational system, religion, and cross cultures. So, and the energy of like learning and higher wisdom and philosophy could kind of be taking a pause, or could really be taking something that makes us want to reflect on it And sometimes we find that truth still comes surface even in silence. So it's quite interesting. Also, November 11th, we have Jupiter retrograde in Cancer. So we are definitely in our pre-shadow season, and then we are hitting our retrograde season, our shadow season once again, but no eclipses for the month of November. But we do have a Jupiter retrograde in Cancer, and I feel like Cancer reminds me of like nostalgia, and a lot of people feel like the ancestors are speaking, the energy of constellation of the crab, the energy of the feminine. It's definitely the feminine ancestors, the emotional and spiritual movement, maybe even a little bit physical. But with that energy of Cancer, we also have the energy of home and the presence of home. Now, the energy of Cancer feels rooted, even though it's a water sign. It feels rooted because that energy of self-care, emotions, and family tends to nourish in the constellation of Cancer. So sometimes we see the energy of mother, children, women, and femininity really taking a play. And then we have this energy creating where Jupiter is kind of at a pause. And Jupiter, that usually makes all this feel grander, bigger, beautiful, is kind of taking a baby nap. And we're like, what the fuck, Jupiter? Wake up and do your thing. Allow us to. But for whatever reason, it's in retrograde. So use this energy wisely, but also make sure you pre-program yourself to know that this time you're probably going to have to give yourself more self-care, more self-love, and more self-confidence, and kind of like feed into yourself, like really fucking feed into it. Also, November 15th, we have Vesta enters Capricorn. So it's definitely a time for you to think about how Vesta can affect you and that energy of movement on this little asteroid, of creating an alliance and creating a movement that feels more disciplined and focused as it is entered with Capricorn. Vesta also screams kind of like that energy of kind wisdom and an energy of empathy. So if you've been feeling some challenges in the workplace, or if you've been feeling some challenges with your own legacy, give yourself a little bit more empathy and also look and reflect on those challenges because you might feel some coming back up. November 19th, we have a new moon in Scorpio, which is also known as, some people would say, the witch's moon. Anytime a moon is in Scorpio, it just feels a little fucking badass. And it's time to release the old, set intentions in silence, and really ask yourself what it is for you. What does it mean for you? So you're going to rise from your own old acknowledgement, from your own transformations, and from your own energy of claim and structure, and create a new alliance that feels right with you. Also, with the new moon in Scorpio, I definitely hope to do some type of content for that. So keep your ears out and your eyes out. I'll remember, please follow the YouTube channel and also my Instagram at chakras.cusswords. And you could even follow my personal chakras_cusswords. And then on November 21st, we have the sun enter Sagittarius. And this constellation seeks adventure. This energy seeks laughter, wisdom, movement. It's definitely like a fiery element. I love when the sun is with a fire sign. It feels very vivacious. It feels very energetic, and it gives us like that spark. This spark might be centered off of wisdom. This spark might be centered off of adventure, travel, and new movement. So some of us might be really picking up our areas of going to the next chapter and what it is that we would like to discover. Also on November 25th, we have Venus in Scorpio trines Jupiter in Cancer. So this is one more romantic aspect of this year. Love expands, emotions deepen, the energy of relationships gets a little bit more curious. The energy of up-leveling relationships definitely gets a little bit more in tune. Venus in Scorpio is seductive. It's deliciously delicious. It is the energy of secrets, desires. Like, I love it when everybody's like, tell me all your secrets. Like, I won't judge you. I promise I won't judge you. And then you tell them their secret and they're like, fuck, you're weird. Fuck you, nasty bitch. It's just kind of like, tell me all your secrets. And do you really want me to tell you all my secrets, honey? Do you really? I don't think you can handle my secrets. Don't tell them all. I will tell you. I will tell everybody. I'm a firm believer of nobody should know all your secrets. There's some secrets that are meant to be secrets. Why would you tell everybody your secrets? Just like, why would you give everybody all your cookies? You don't do that, silly girl. Absolutely not. So definitely Venus in Scorpio trines Jupiter in Cancer. Love expands. Emotions are deep. Say what you feel and do not hold back. The cosmos were definitely listening. They're singing, right? Then on November 27th, we have Saturn direct in Pisces. Boundaries turn into blessings. What once felt super heavy and now feels grounded. You're learning how to swim through your emotions without drowning them out. Also, November 30th, we have Venus enters Sagittarius. It feels like somebody is falling fucking in love. I mean, I just feel like somebody's falling in love. We have that energy where it's just like the end of the month, but it feels very lovely for Venus to shift out of Scorpio and to be set with a area that feels a little bit more adventurous and it feels a little bit more wild and chaotic and free. I do also think with this energy that people could be breaking up because I feel like the Sagittarius constellation sometimes allows us to accept our freedom and it sometimes allows us to acknowledge when we don't feel free. And sometimes in our relationship, if we're not feeling free, we could see how this hits and we could see how that time that we took to fall in love somehow left us out of love. But hopefully with most of us, this is going to be an energy that's going to be driving us back into love if we are in love. And it's also going to be an energy of introducing us to new love. It could be a new potential love. It could also be a new area of charisma with our already existing partner and our energy of our spirit awakening and seeing what is centered with our journey. So I just want to say that November's love story, because every month is a love story. It's a love story. It's a cosmic story. It's definitely a story written for us in the energy of the constellations and the energy of the stars. We have the bull, the Scorpio, the scorpion, the Sagittarius, and all of these are guiding us through the movements of release and discovery. So there's going to be a couple journal prompts I want to give you guys because I definitely think that journal prompts are very important, especially if you can dish some out in the beginning of the month or at the end of the month to just really look at what it is that you are moving from in the energy of from the next month to a new month, a new frequency, a new rotation. So ask yourself these things. What am I ready to shed? What am I ready to shed? Wow, what am I ready to shed? Now, I will say that one of the things that I'm definitely ready to shed is feeling like I need to show up for everybody or feeling like I need to not devote time to certain things that are important to me, even though they might not be important to everybody else, right? I would also say a thing that I want so many of us, and when I mean us, I mean the collective, the witches, the astrologers, the spiritualists, the psychics, the tarot readers, the oracle readers, the human design artists. Like, I feel like if you are one of these, you're probably a creative as well. And somebody who is a creative, who is an artist, you're going to want to charge a little bit more. I feel like sometimes people think that this is like a gimmick, like these gifts are gimmicks, these energies of insight are gimmicks. No, boo. I've had to work hard. You've had to work hard. You've had to master your craft. You've had to put time, dedication. You've had to put loyalty. You've also had to put consistency. And I'm also speaking from experience, okay? So make sure you're charging what is appropriate. If it's not worth your time, honey, it is not worth your time. And that's all I have to say. I would definitely say I've seen people overcharge, which I've definitely been somebody who has overcharged because I don't necessarily do many personal readings. People have asked me, and I will, especially if it's like somebody who I know, like from somebody, I'll definitely do a personal reading. But for the most part, it's really hard for me. I just don't have time to like go to somebody's house or have somebody come over here or to like log on to Zoom. And by then I'm like, I mean, if you really, really want to, but I have to make sure it's like worth my time. So do you see what I'm saying? Like, make sure you're charging what's appropriate. Also, ask yourself, what am I ready to chase or ready to step into? Now, I don't really like the word chase, but I would definitely say, what am I ready to step into? Like, what are you ready to set your goals for in this new month of November? And do it in the number 3 new goals. What are you ready to set your new goals into? And what magic am I finally ready to receive? Now, what magic am I finally ready to receive? And I want you to think of this magic in the energy of love or relationships or new adventures, or in the energy of your chakras. So if there's been a chakra that you feel is like kind of been blocked, what energy of that chakra are you ready to receive? Right? What energy of that chakra are you ready to awaken? Because the stars are listening and your energy is listening. The universe is listening. Everybody's listening. Listen, Linda. So definitely allow this energy to speak to you because the movement is in your pathway. So I want to thank everybody for listening. Don't forget to share this with your witchy bestie and have an amazing day. Bye.